welcome to 12 Days of COP. I'm your host, Andrea Edwards, and today we are in Kenya, Nairobi, with SirCollins Manyasi. Everyone keeps telling me how inspiring you are, so I'm really, really looking forward to hearing what you've got to say. So welcome.
Thanks, Andrea, and glad connecting with you today. So, as you said, my name is Collins Manyasi, it's also Sir Collins, as you mentioned it, and I'm here in Nairobi, Kenya, and so glad just connecting with you and looking forward to have an amazing session with you.
Yeah. And so just before we started talking, Sir Collins was telling me that the name was actually inherited when he was still at high school. So you're obviously an impressive man back then as well. All right. So do you want to just share with everyone your background and what you do and why you do it?
Okay, thank you so much. So, I studied biology in my university, and after that, I've been so much passionate about research. And so part of the work I've been doing after the university is volunteering and giving back to communities. And what really touched my interest on climate environment is working with this grassroots women organization, and they were actually implementing the adaptation fund program, this huge global fund, and you had this grassroots women organization that was actually implementing this project in the rural areas, the Maasai indigenous in Kenya. And this experience it's kind of changed my whole perspective about what really it means when we talk about the effects of climate, and the challenges that women face, traveling kilometers and kilometers to get water. We had this aspect about the children, yeah, taking care of the livestock. We have the drought issues, and so this aspect of what the kind of challenges they face, and looking at the other aspect about how they have built this kind of resilience to just adapt and stay strong. And so one of the components for this project was actually to give them water. It is a model called the adaptation village model. And so one of the sites that we visited, and they had a borehole for the water. And when it popped out, and I saw the whole village, coming around with the joy and the happiness. It touched my heart just to understand how like water can turn a village that was so quiet into like a vibrant city. And so
Mm.
yeah, that's how my journey has been, and coming along with that and connecting with other organizations that deal with conservation, environment, and currently now working with such a vibrant youth network. It's called actually the East African Campuses and Colleges Green Network, where I also serve as the advisory board, if you see behind me. And so
Yep.
through that, we had a connection with the Wild Climate School through INGA and Thinking Choices in the UK to bring about this message about It's For You, which I'll talk about. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's really awesome. And especially working with women like in the rural communities, some of the stuff I'm reading, that's where the real change is happening, but it's also where the support isn't necessarily going. And, there was a picture just today someone shared on LinkedIn which showed the delegates of COP28, and vast, vast, vast majority of them were men. And, I say if we don't have women and minority groups at every decision making table, we're really not going to get it right, because it's the women who are actually doing the real work, right, in nature. So that's awesome. Like if you could go back to when you first started, whether it was when you're at university, what was it? So every time I speak to someone from Africa, I feel that everyone's so much further ahead in the actions that need to be taken, which obviously is because you guys are really on the front line of what's going on. And so, but what was that first moment for you, that epiphany when you realized you needed to get involved in this for the future of your country, your region, and humanity? Do you have a moment?
Uh, yes, I do. I do have a moment. And when I was at the university, I think in my second year, we had a group of students that traveled to one of the remote areas, rural areas, and it was actually a camp with the students coming across from the medical field, from the Christian Union, and all this combined team to get to visit this place. And initially, it used to be like a conflict-prone areas, and so we had a 1 week stay at the area, and what we did was to interact with the community, get to like home to home, and so I happened to visit with some kids to a homestead, and I got this lady, a mother who was actually sick on her bed, and the children, like implored to me like, no, we have to pass by our home, and so that the story about her, I can't remember her, I can't even remember the name, but her story touched my heart to just think through about the little things that we can do to make sure we have a better world, because
Yeah.
and then maybe during that time, like transport to the same place was a bit challenging, and we have like one public bus that actually goes to the area one day
Yeah.
and it gets back, and so like when a public bus arrives in the evening around 4 5, the whole small town rises in jubilation to welcome that. And so when I came back to Nairobi, I reflected on that a lot, and especially the children. I have a passion for children, and so
Mm.
by the time as students were leaving to come back to the city, there was this old joy and the kids coming along and saying, "Hey, I need your, get me your shoe, get me your T-shirt or something." So it changed my whole perspective about even we talk about rural and the urban, and when somebody is defining about the policies around development and the reality on the ground. And so all along after that, when I finished my studies, that's how I dropped into actually work with these grassroots women organizations called Nasar Women.
Hmm.
And it's kind of also just gave me the passion and inspiring stories of women and their role they play actually in making sure that we build a livelihood despite the challenges.
Yeah.
So yes, that's the story around it.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. I know we're sort of still pretty early days into COP28. But have you heard anything yet that sort of made you feel like they might do something special this year? Anything's giving you hope so far?
Yes, I've been following up to what's happening, and I've had quite a number of my friends actually from Kenya who are actually attending COP, and I think the opening up of the loss and damage fund, I think that's been one of the things I know has come up along even before COP. You remember Kenya, the government hosted the African Climate Summit in
Mm.
September 4th to 6th. And one of the highlights, even coming from the heads of states, was actually on uh, how they need to balance that aspect. That yes, we know we have the developed and developing, and the loss and damage idea. I've heard it so much of how that kind of fund can actually boost, especially for the projects and interventions in the developing countries. So I'm still keen on what comes out of that, and I think that's in for me where I sit is a right start.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a positive start, but it's so far below the number that we
Yeah,
need annually, right? So,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's one of the topics I'm definitely keeping an eye on because if we don't get that right as a global society,
yeah.
we're really kidding ourselves. John Kerry, I don't know, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, said the US is not paying loss and damages funds, and they've only donated 17 million in this first round of announcements. But Germany's 100 million, for example, right? Um, but if we don't do it, if we don't help developing nations get ready for the extremes, as well as upgrade their energy grids, then we're all going to be toast. So that closed thinking of we don't have to, it's not our responsibility, it's everybody's responsibility because if no one wants to move, but if people are forced to migrate, then we've got a whole other situation on our hands, right?
Yeah, I agree. The stakes are high, but it's everyone's responsibility, and I totally agree with you. So we still following up and hopefully to see how it turns out.
Yeah,
But we 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 have a role to play, and I
yeah,
hope that at the end of the 12 days of COP, we have to sit down and reflect and see how actually we can do things better.
cool, awesome. I
Yes.
love it. All right, so we're here to talk about it's for you. So let's start. Everyone I'm talking to has a different sort of interpretation, which I love because I think that's what's really appealing to me about it. So, what does it's for you mean to you?
Yes, thank you. So it's for you to me, it's about uh, you have the power, you have the space, you have the skill,
Mm,
and you have the idea. And that idea, I don't have it. And so where I stand is when I say it's for you, it means you are in the right space, you have the idea, you have, you know, the, the innovative kind of thinking that when you put it on the table, it makes a difference. And so if you align it to the climate and the 12 days of COP, basically it's for you means the discussion that's happening at the global and higher level, where it it can only make the meaning if it translates into whatever positive thing is happening on the ground. Like just the story I told you about a remote
mm,
village somewhere in Kenya, and people have no idea about COP. So when you talk about the climate crisis, so it's for you, it's just about what is this little young man doing in somewhere there's no network, no one knows about him or her, and actually she's making little steps to make her village better. So that's for me what it's for you means. So the
yeah,
little
right.
step that someone is doing, unrecognized, not seen, but making a difference. And that's
Yeah.
why we say, like, COP it's for you because it's bringing the voices of the people who have not seen, but they're
Mm.
making a difference. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. I think that's one of the best descriptions I've heard so far because it is those people that are actually really making the difference. They're on the front line. They're experiencing things, and that most of the times they don't even have the technology to understand what's going on and what's
Okay.
changing. They're just dealing with it, right? And they're
Yeah.
adapting and they're planting different crops, and but we do need to get communication to them about the risks that are coming, especially heat. That's
Yes.
a huge one, right? For
Yes.
all of us in the global south. So I'm in Thailand where we hit wet bulb temperatures earlier this year. I know you've been dealing with extreme heat this year as well, and next year is looking hotter. So we need to hear these voices, these people. They're the ones that are really making the changes that are going to make
Yes.
it all the difference. All
Yeah.
right. So the
Exactly.
fine. Sorry, you keep going. Do you want to say something?
No, it's fine. I'm just agreeing with you about it and maybe the experience you're sharing in Thailand. Currently in Kenya, we have El Nino, the floods,
Mm,
and it's so emotional to think through about what that means to the people who are affected, and that's why it's for it's about bringing out those voices to say, look, I think it's time to make sure we join our hands for a better planet.
yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
All right. So the final question: how can your community get involved in It's for You? And I've got the sign up here. Sign up It's for You to It's for You on Bitly, which I'll put in the show notes as well. But what do you encourage everybody in your community to do to be part of this?
Oh, so thank you. So the fun part about the It's Free campaign is actually to highlight the stories that young people, the children, families around the communities are doing to make the world better. And the aspect about it is that it is supposed to propel businesses and governments to redirect a little spending on the little projects that actually these young people are doing, and that's why the form and the link to join the Inspire campaign is basically to fill in the form, uh, pick around an activity or the project you're doing, and then share the story. You can also actually join it through we are running live sessions. You can actually get into our studio, hear the conversation, and getting on stage just contribute to the debate. So, for instance, yesterday we had amazing program, and you had young people and guys just connecting, contributing to the debate, sharing their stories, and it's so inspiring and to hear what people are doing out there. So yes, I welcome our viewers to sign in, follow us on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. And as I say, it's for you, it's for me, it's for everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. 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 Very inspiring. And if people are only listening to you, you've got and not seeing you, you've got an amazing smile that lights up a room. So Collins, thank you. Thank you so much. I watched some of the live stream last night, and I agree with you 100%. It was really, really inspiring. Just hearing the voices from all over the world. I think you guys have done an amazing job bringing a really incredible community of people together. So congratulations, and I hope these 12 days of COP are fantastic for all of you, because you deserve it. A lot of hard work's gone in. So great job.
Uh, Thank you, and you're welcome to Kenya.
I'd love to come and visit. All right.
Okay.
See you guys soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay.